1, 2, 3, Test. Liebe Walinauten, schön, dass ihr wieder dabei seid zu Mehr Spaß im Glas. Und neben mir steht ein Freund, ein großartiger Mensch, ein toller Weinproduzent. Ich sage ganz bewusst das Wort Weinmacher nicht, das würde er auch nicht so gerne hören. I think winemaker would be an affront to you. Das ist Peter Vinding-Diers, eigentlich Däne, geboren als Däne. 1967 als Kriegsberichterstatter war er in Vietnam, später dann in Südafrika bei Rustenburg, dann irgendwann in Frankreich, Château Landiras, Château Raoul und dann irgendwann in Sizilien. You understood everything what I was saying. It's really great to have you here.
Thank you.
So we are now in your new cellar. This is the old stable of Montecarrubo. So we are in the town of Melilli.
It's actually great to have you here.
Thank you. He's such a humble guy, isn't he? Tell me a little bit about the barrels you use for Montecarrubo.
We get our barrels from a producer in Pomerol in Bordeaux. Barrels that have had one wine or two wines in them. I don't like new wood, so we use old wood. And we are very happy we get them every year from the same producer now.
And you use, for the varieties you use, you predominantly have Syrah, and then you have a little bit of Cabernet and Merlot, is that correct?
Yeah. I took over a vineyard. We'd had Cabernet and Merlot. It was the last thing I wanted, because having lived for 25 years in Bordeaux, I didn't want to see another Cabernet and Merlot. But but they do very well, and I'm quite happy, and we were so lucky that we get our barrels from a producer in Pomerol. As I said, in Pomerol, there's a tonnelier called Danajou, and he makes beautiful wines, beautiful barrels that make beautiful wines, let's put it that way.
A lot of people think Sicilian wines, I think I didn't mention that we're in Sicily at the beginning, but obviously you can see it's very hot today. Sicilian wines are quite heavy, dark, strong, a lot of alcohol. When I've tasted the wines from your estate first, I thought this is a different story. How come? We're on the east side of Sicily, as I understood.
Maybe it's because I like my vineyards, and so I work hard in my vineyards, and my wines say thank you to me by producing less alcohol.
Okay, we believe that story. Why don't we walk a little bit to the tasting room? There is another saying from you. I'm not a quote from you. I'm not sure if it was from you, but you said something about Nero d'Avola, and I'm not sure if you repeat it in front of a camera here for my friends. But I know Germans like a lot Nero d'Avola, and of course there's nothing wrong with it. But
Nero d'Avola is a very old variety in Sicily. Originates around 1600. And makes gruesome wines. Very, very primitive, very tannic, very dark, and very alcoholic. All the things I don't really like. Okay. I tried to battle with it for 15 years, and I've now given up.
I think you mentioned once to me, like, if there's a God in heaven, he will certainly not drink Nero d'Avola.
You will never drink Nero d'Avola. You have to take the elevator downstairs to get that.
Okay. Well, everybody can drink and can be happy the way he wants, but I think you are very much about refinement and about, I think very much in France you learned a lot about your craft, though I think the principles probably in South Africa, but the craft itself is French.
No, absolutely. Not only I, my son, my nephew, we all learned in France. Mm-hmm. It marked us for life. The French wine culture is so deep, and the French like elegant wines, and so do we. Yeah.
So now we are in one of the famous vineyards in the Il Vignolo, and here you've done something. I had a brilliant idea. You've done something totally opposite from what is the Sicilian Syrah. You brought some.
I brought some from Hermitage, a Marsal selection from Hermitage. Which is giving me a lot of joy, and it makes some very elegant linear wines. I like them very much.
By looking at this is quite new, huh? This is the new stuff.
Yeah, we've replanted, and but for the first time we haven't made a green pruning, so we'll see what it does.
How old are they?
They're 10 years old.
They're 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the Vigna Grande was planted at the same time?
Same time. So so that's also 10 years now.
The results you get from it are incredible, I have to say. When you look at the color, when you look at the mouthfeel, at the smell, why are these so, I wouldn't say superior, but in some way more distinct?
I don't know, maybe because they're the result of generations of selection by people who took their job seriously. And I think that's something we have to do. We have to be very serious about it. We are not Demeter here, but we are using a lot of Steiner's things that we feel suits our terroir. And we don't do it because it's Steiner, because it's anybody else. We do it because we can see the results. And we are very conscious of doing things like that. Now we have this enormous heat, and this underlines a theory of mine that all this clonal planting was a huge mistake. It was almost criminal, really. One has to go back to the Marsal selection to go and select the vines that are resistant to the heat, and that is where the key for the future is. Not planting Portuguese vines in Bordeaux; they're crazy. I think that's almost as big a mistake as planting a clone. If we'd had a clone here that wasn't suitable, and there are some vines here that are definitely not suitable for it, I would have lost the vineyard. Instead, now I have what they call a multi-clone, which is also rubbish. I have a Marsal selection, and some of the vines I can see, especially over there's some vines that are green and healthy and wonderful, not overproductive every year, and they're the ones I'm going to take the stocks from for future plantings. So now I'm selecting in my own vineyard here, and I'm selecting with a view on resistance to heat in future.
So this was, I think, well, speaking in English, but I think this is quite in essence what you were saying about. I think it just takes much more work. It's going back to craft. Observation, I think, is a very important factor here, and we can obviously see this vineyard is fantastically healthy. It's planted very densely, so I guess that forces.
There's 5,000 hectares. I would have loved to plant 10,000, but there wasn't any tractor then to do it. Now I have a tractor I could do it with. It doesn't matter. It's 5,000, so 140 by 140.
So this was a real lesson in, I think, so many other things we could learn from you, but one thing I think is fantastic that you've done it. This is like something of a dream, is something of a vision, and is something of keeping a tradition and keeping at least kind of a sense for this kind of education, which we have lost in many ways.
Yes. Probably. I think humbleness is a very important word. One has to be humble in this, and the wines I make, they're just étude. There's no finished one.
Okay, but we're going to finish one now, I'm sure. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Peter.